Prior to this scene, Luisa seduces Julio in front of Tenoch because she believes that there is a rift between the friends due to her sexual relations with Tenoch. In actuality, the rift is the result of Julio's confession that he slept with Tenoch's girlfriend. Luisa tries to settle the score, much like Catherine does in the film Jules et Jim, between them by sleeping with Julio too. But that leads to Tenoch's confession in this scene that he deliberately slept with Julio's girlfriend, his own attempt at resolving the tension between the two.
¿Cuándo?
Después del concierto de Plastilina Mosh.
Puta madre. A huevo, ¿verdad, pendejo? Por eso me llevaste a mí primero, ¿verdad, güey?
Initially, Julio is incredulous because he thinks that Tenoch is trying to get back at him, but as Tenoch relays the details of the night, Julio realizes that not only did he sleep with his girlfriend, but he did so on purpose. This is when Luisa becomes aware that she is not the reason for their fight, and she grows angry that they violated their code of honor. Julio's mounting anger causes him to pull over so as to fully assert his machismo over Tenoch. It is interesting to note that this is the first time that the difference between Julio's middle class and Tenoch's upper class background becomes an issue in the film. Julio is trying to physically fight while Tenoch sits behind the locked door and shouts insults in response. This in itself is representative of the separation of the classes because there is a literal glass barrier separating the two. Oblivious to their impoverished surroundings, Tenoch calls Julio a peasant while actual peasants fill the background.
Como todos los tíos, marcando territorio y dándos de hostias cuando lo único que os gustaría sería follar el uno con el otro. Eso es lo que os gustaría. ¿Qué más da si os habéis acostado con la novia del otro? ¿Qué más da, coño, con lo rápido que os corréis los dos? Mierda, ¿quién me manda, coño? Líate con críos y limpiarás pañales.
Luisa, who throughout the story plays the role of bringing the two friends' adolescent attitudes towards sexuality into maturity, becomes offended that the cause of their feud is so juvenile. Prior to leaving, she chides them for their behavior she later helps them to overcome. Their lack of respect for each other, their perceived ownership of their girlfriends, their preoccupation with their own sexual satisfaction, and even their own repressed attraction to each other. Her departure causes them to put their feud aside as Julio and Tenoch depend on Luisa to guide their development.
Ya, güey, perdón,
¡No, de
ya.
rodillas, pendejo!
No mames, cabrón, va a pedir aventón, güey, se nos va a
Ya
ir.
sé, cabrón, de rodillas, güey, te estoy diciendo.
Hazte para allá, güey.
After Luisa rightfully storms off, Julio returns to assert his masculinity. He does this by forcing Tenoch to beg for forgiveness on both knees in order to restore some semblance of equality between the two. Instead of a return to the prior balance of their friendship, this new equality is defined by a new tension between them. This tension is necessary for them to realize their true feelings for each other, and they chase after Luisa.
¿Cuántas veces te la cogiste, güey?
As a side note, the director, Alfonso Cuarón, wrote this film with his brother. Perhaps the way that Julio and Tenoch bicker is drawn from their own experiences growing up. With the realization that Julio and Tenoch still have the mentality of children, Luisa begins to treat them as such. She asserts herself for the first time in the film without using her sexuality, and the boys respond positively. They beg for her to rejoin them and promise to respect her guidelines for the duration of their trip. Her dominance becomes the catalyst for their coming of age. This scene is integral to the film because it marks a turning point in the relationship between the characters that sets the stage for their development in the final act. Furthermore, it is significant to Mexican film as a whole as it reveals the stark socioeconomic difference between the regions and classes of the country. The thematic and narrative devices within this scene add layers to the tradition of coming-of-age film in both an artistic and socially critical way.